let's get straight into it. There's a story in the news about this gentleman. That is 66-year-old Scotsman Leslie Sinclair. He's been a blood donor for 48 years. He's given over 125 pints of blood. So he will have helped save countless lives. But he's now vowed never to donate blood again. The reason for this is that Mr. Sinclair didn't answer one question on the new updated blood donors form, saying, why answer a question for something that's impossible? But the staff informed him if he didn't answer the question, he couldn't give blood. So he left. And I'm guessing you're wondering, well, what was the question? And it's this: can you confirm you're not pregnant? So first of all, at 66 years old, even if he'd been a woman, it's unlikely he'd get knocked up. And secondly, and slightly more obvious, this is a blood donation centre, a facility run by trained medical professionals. Do we really need to point out to them that the male of the species doesn't have a fucking uterus? Men don't get tubbed. The reason for the new donor form is because our wonderful National Health Service is under increasing pressure to be more inclusive. And we know there are a few deluded individuals who claim that men can have babies. And before I go on, I just want to stress that last Saturday I spent a few hours at Pride, because I've been for LGBTQIA+ rights ever since it was just called gay rights. I believe in equality. And I love Pride, seeing all the diversity and different sexualities. However, reality is still a thing. Yes, some trans men can get pregnant. And if you're watching this and you're trans, I wish you the best life. But the fact remains, a trans man is usually a woman who's had hormone treatments and or surgery to appear male. But if that person still has a womb, technically they're still a woman. They're not the same as being biologically male. In the same way that I could take my Mini, spray it bright red and put a prancing horse on the bonnet, that doesn't make it a fucking Ferrari. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that men are like Ferraris and women are like Minis. If anything, women are more like Ferraris because they're all beautiful and curvy, whereas we're built for, well, convenience really. We wouldn't even be Minis, we'd be Ford Transits. And whenever an organisation says they're going to be more inclusive, generally that means using stupid nonsensical terms, in this case like birthing parent and chest feeding. It also generally means eradicating women from the language and gradually eroding their rights. It goes along the same lines as a story from, I think, 2 years ago, where desperate attention seeker and washed up singer Sam Smith, who goes by the pronouns they, them, well, they, said they couldn't wait to be a mother. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, Sam, you're a man, and it doesn't matter how often or how vigorously you get fucked up your arsehole, you're never going to be with child. Even more disturbing is that on the NHS website, there's now advice telling trans women how to chest feed or breastfeed. And you may be thinking, well, that's impossible because trans women were born men. But there's a drug, which I forgot to write down, which, when given a course of treatment, it causes men to lactate. However, any trans woman wanting to breastfeed an infant would have to be a different level of selfish, because the most common side effect from this type of milk is that when it's ingested by a newborn, it can often cause them heart defects. So on one hand, they will have the lovely experience of feeling what it's like to be a real mother. The downside is the kid might be dead. Besides which, if there's a newborn, surely a biological woman was recently involved. Wouldn't she be better qualified to breastfeed the kid? So let's recap. If I go to donate blood, I now have to confirm that I'm not pregnant. How far do we go with this shit? Should I call my GP and say I'm a bit concerned that I'm a late bloomer because I'm in my 40s and I still haven't had my first period? Or that strange sensation I've got on my abdomen, is that from last night's takeaway, or am I ovulating? Inclusivity. It's a great concept, but not at the cost of common sodding sense. And the NHS needs another 1 million blood donors. But they've managed to alienate a guy who's been donating blood for almost 5 decades. And more to the point, if you went to see a doctor as a man, and he asked you to confirm that you're not expecting, would you honestly let that bloke examine you? The world's gone fucking mad, as ever. Thanks for watching. News about this gentleman. Remarkably, a Scotsman who gives stuff away for free. About this gentleman. Oh, what's his fucking name? Go on. Last weekend, I spent a few hours at Pride. To be honest, I spent most of the time Googling what the different flags are, because, yeah, there's the general LGBTQ flag there, transsexual, bisexual, pansexual. What the fuck are all the others? Run by trained women on how to breastfeed or chest feed. Which does suggest scientists have got too much fucking time on their hands. Why aren't they curing cancer rather than working out how they can grow their own tits? Story, if you fuck that up. I would have to confirm that I'm not pregnant. And I'm not, I'm just fat. Inclusivity is fine, but not... Shut the fuck up. Birds.